Okay, let's tackle a huge challenge, one that probably keeps a lot of plant managers and CFOs up at night. And it's this. How do you make sure that that brand new multi-billion-dollar piece of equipment you just invested in actually delivers on its promise? Let's dive in. You've probably seen this happen before, right? The shiny, state-of-the-art machine gets installed and everybody's excited. But then, it just never quite hits its numbers. It's always breaking down, it can't keep up with demand, and that massive investment, well, it pretty quickly turns into a massive, frustrating bottleneck for the whole operation. So how on earth does this keep happening? Well, here's the fascinating part. The solution is actually way more proactive than you might think. It doesn't start with better maintenance after the machine is already failing. Nope. It starts with a single, really powerful sentence written long before a single bolt is even turned. And that sentence is the very core of what our source material calls the new equipment reliability strategy. Now, I want you to think of this less as some boring document and more like a blueprint for success. It's designed to make sure that new assets perform exactly as the business needs them to, right from day one. Now, let's zoom in on a couple of key words here: assures and lifecycle. This is a huge shift in thinking. The strategy isn't about hoping for reliability, it's about engineering it into the plan from the absolute start. And it's not a short-term patch. We're talking about guaranteeing performance for the asset's entire operational life. This is what separates a cost center from a real competitive advantage. So, how do we actually build this assurance into the plan? Well, the whole strategy really stands on three foundational pillars. Three core requirements that have to be defined with absolute crystal clarity right up front. Let's break them down. And here they are: performance, availability, and maintainability. These three pillars are the absolute heart of the strategy. You get these right, and you're not just buying a machine, you're buying predictable, long-term results. First up, performance. This is basically the what it does pillar. How fast does it have to run? What is the non-negotiable quality of the output? How many units per hour, per day, per week? This is where you set those tangible, measurable targets for success. There is zero room for ambiguity here. Next, we have availability. You can think of this as the when it works pillar. I mean, a machine that performs brilliantly but is always down for repairs is basically worthless, right? This requirement defines the target uptime. Are we aiming for 95% availability, 99.9%? That single number is going to dictate everything from component quality to maintenance schedules. And finally, maintainability. This is the how fast can we fix it pillar. Because let's be honest, things will need service. This pillar forces you to plan for that from the design phase. How quickly do we need to get it back online? This one simple question influences the entire design, from how accessible the components are to what spare parts you keep on hand. Okay, so defining these three pillars is obviously critical, but they don't exist in a vacuum. On their own, they're really just technical specs. To have real power, they have to serve a much, much higher purpose, which brings us to the most important connection of all. And there it is. This is the ultimate goal. This is the real aha moment of the whole strategy. Those requirements for performance, availability, and maintainability, they aren't just abstract engineering targets. They have to be specifically calculated to achieve one thing: the overall business mission. Think of it this way. Each one of those pillars is a promise. It's a quantifiable promise that the engineering and procurement teams are making to the executive team. A promise that this multi-million-dollar asset is going to directly fuel the company's biggest strategic goals. So that brings us to the final critical piece of the puzzle. How do we make sure that this link between the machine's function and the company's mission is absolutely perfect? Well, our source material gives us one final word to lock it all in place. The equipment strategy must be congruent with the company's overall strategic plan. It's a fantastic word for this, isn't it? It just means everything is in total harmony. It all fits together perfectly. No friction, no contradiction. The equipment's goals are the business's goals, period. Here is a perfect example of what congruence looks like in the real world. If the big picture business strategy is to become the #1 provider of guaranteed next-day shipping, then an equipment strategy that demands 99.9% uptime for the main sorting system is perfectly congruent. See? The machine's extreme reliability directly enables the company's core market promise. They fit together seamlessly. So let's tie this all together. To guarantee reliability, you have to plan for it across the asset's entire life cycle. You do that by defining those three key pillars: what it does, when it works, and how fast you can fix it. And the most critical step of all, you tie every bit of that directly to the business mission, making sure your equipment strategy and your company strategy are perfectly congruent. So that really just leaves one final question for you. The next time a major capital investment comes across your desk, ask yourself this: are we just buying a machine? Or are we strategically buying the reliability we need to win? Thanks for joining this explainer.